Hey, Shrewdness fans. Welcome to the show today. Dex and Chiz are joining me. I'm Prue, and we got another great show for you tonight. We are in our series focused on the NFL and the recent NFL draft. We're looking at every conference and how they did, how their drafts went, and which rookies might have guillotine fantasy impact for your teams this fall. So we're going through each conference. Tonight's is the AFC South and is our second in this series. Go back and watch the AFC East when you have a chance and catch up on all those teams. But tonight we're going into AFC South. We really appreciate all the comments and questions that we got after that first episode. So keep those coming. I also want to thank all of you who tuned in last time and liked and followed, subscribed, all those good things. We're building our brand on YouTube and TikTok and what else?
Everything.
We're everywhere.
On all of them.
Instagram,
YouTube,
Spotify.
TikTok, Instagram,
Spotify.
Facebook, Spotify. You got them all. So go
Yep.
like all of them, subscribe to all of them. You're going to get, especially if you're listening to this, you're a Gio fan and you're going to try Gio for the first time. And we will guide you through everything Gio. And you're going to need it. And you're going to have a huge leg up on your competition in your league. So,
Yep.
and share. I mean, not with people in your league because you don't
Yeah.
want them to get the same stuff, but with other people outside the league for sure.
Hey, this is a selfish endeavor we're doing. We're doing this show because there was nothing out there that answered the questions we wanted specifically for Guillotine Fantasy Football because it's a
Yep.
different format. I mean, you'll have the Charging show out there, and it's pseudo helpful for talking about pickups. Nothing wrong with that, man. I like it. I'll
Nope.
still check it out. But this one's totally different. So our show is just addresses different parts of the league, a different part of how to play the game. And we kind of rank different players different ways. And I think it's going to be very useful come football season. So we hope you enjoy it and stick with us because we're the only one out there. So we're kind
That's
of
right.
first in. We're going to do this thing up.
Yep,
But-
exactly right.
So let's
All
get
right,
all you
started,
got.
though. Let's
Yeah,
get
let's
started.
dive into it. Dex is going to lead us off. Like I said, AFC South. First team is Jacksonville. Dex, what'd they pick up?
The Jaguars. A
Jacksonville
team
Jaguars.
that always seems to draft early and end up drafting early.
I mean, I feel like they're perennial top 5 selection rates. And while this year they had the 5th pick, they decided to mortgage their future. So next year's probably top 5 pick. They traded that one too to move up to the 2nd slot to take Travis Hunter out of Colorado, who is awesome. I mean, you probably don't need to know who he is because he's the Heisman winner. Everybody always knows the Heisman winner. But what's cool about him is he's going to be the first NFL guy, probably since Dion, to play meaningful plays on offense and defense at 2 key positions. So cornerback, he will immediately be starting there, and at wideout, he's immediately going to be playing there opposite Bryant Thomas. So Travis Hunter, 6'1",
It's a pretty sweet
185.
duo. Brian
It
Thomas
is.
and Travis
I
Hunter.
think so too. I think that's going to play. But last year he had 96 catches. That was 4th in college football, 1,258 yards, 5th overall, 15 touchdowns. That's 2nd. And again, he better be good. I think he will be because his work ethic is unbelievable. He's been coached
what
phenomenally.
they paid to get him, he better be good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
they
by all
need him to be
accounts,
good.
he just aces interviews. He is exactly the work ethic you want. And if you're going to invest a pick, we talked about this in a prior episode, but this is a guy worth betting on. He is not going to let you down. So I think they did awesome. I think it's a great pick. It just makes you wonder. We talked about this before too, last week on well, not last, I guess a couple weeks ago now, but the Giants, they could have just had him for 1 first-round pick. I mean, they took Cam
Yep.
Ward, and we'll talk about that when we get to that. But if other teams valued this guy as good as 2 first-round picks, wow, I hope so. And it's going to have him for 1. So Jacksonville, hopefully it works out for them because, boy, do they need a break. They were so close to the playoffs, like true playoff relevance. I mean, they made it, but then last year was terrible. So 2 years ago, they were in there, and everybody was all riding coattails. Here we go. This is our year. We're finally going to get there. No, they didn't. They
God,
can
that's
never
a
seem
great
to get
catch.
over the hump.
So if you guys, for those of you who if you haven't, if you're just listening to us on Spotify or listen to us on YouTube, that's cool. Totally get it. I listen on the way in the car. I listen to a lot of podcasts. But if you get a chance, we're showing highlights right now. Our video, which is on YouTube and on Spotify as well. You can check out the highlights that we're showing of Travis Hunter, which are pretty ridiculous.
Just
And-
dominating people.
you'll be able to see also he has some pretty sweet touchdown celebration dances too. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as well when he gets to the NFL. He's got some big shoes to fill there, being a Dion guy.
It is. So I think he's going to do just fine. I think he's going to be starting day one, game one. They're going to be slotting him in. I mean, it's going to be hard to work him in. It's hard to get that many reps on offense and defense as a rookie. But I think he played every damn down last year for the most part. I mean, this kid played every down. So I don't think,
and he's not a huge guy. Like, the thing is, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to utilize him more on one side of the ball than the other.
Yeah.
But he could do either. So
absolutely. They're counting on him to do both.
It's going to be fun to watch.
That's a fact. They thought they're getting a cornerback that's going to be starting in one of the top 2 positions. They're not getting a nickel or a dime corner. They expect him to be covering the best wideouts in the game.
Totally.
And then as wideout, they expect him to be one of their top 3 wideouts. So that's the expectation. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to actually watch Jacksonville preseason games just to watch him play. And I think for the NFL in general, I think they're all happy there's a Travis Hunter on Jacksonville because, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence, right? We keep wanting him to be good. I mean, just as an NFL fan, if you watch Clemson football or just college football, he was a can't-miss prospect. I don't know if he's missed yet. We're getting close.
He's getting close. He's getting close. This is his chance. He's got the weapons now.
Yeah.
If he doesn't produce with these guys, right? It's
that's good. I mean, they'll have another top 5 pick. Oh, just kidding. They won't. So hopefully it works. It's got to count for 2.
That's right.
So let's go to the other tool, the other player they drafted. So the 4th round, pick 104, they got running back Bashal Tutin out of Virginia Tech.
Bashal Tutin.
He's a pretty big back.
He's already all name team.
He is. Yeah. So 5'11", 209 pounds. So we're pulling up his videos here for you. But 1,159 yards, 6.3 yards per carry. That plays, man. That's pretty good. So I think that was top 10 in college. And so I know 6.5, we'll talk about him as a player later. 6.5 was 5th, so 6.3 he's got to be close behind. I just didn't look it up.
Yep.
But 15 touchdowns, so he's going to bash it in. And a fun stat about him, so he had 5 runs or 40 or more yards last season. So 5 times he took it 40-plus yards. That's breakaway speed, and it can't always be bad tackling. Come on now. I can see that a couple times, but he's playing at a D1 program and a good conference, so I'm not too worried about that. And then over the course of the last 2 seasons, he had 14 runs of 25 yards or more. So I think this kid's got some breakaway speed, and he knows how to make cuts. I mean, look at these videos that we got up there. His highlights, he doesn't go down with the first tackle. He's not going to be an ankle grab and you're done. He's going to run through tackles.
Yeah, he's a tough guy for not being huge. He's low to the ground. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and how he runs.
Look that way.
He's pretty stocky.
He's real stocky, real big thighs. Not like game-breaking speed, but he sees the hole well and makes good sudden cuts. So
yeah, and then he also had some catches, so I think he's pretty good out of the backfield as well.
Yeah.
So 16 catches of 20 or more yards. So they're not just all flat passes, and even if they were, he seems to know how to use his blockers to get through everything. So the highlight we just saw there is him following the blockers, looking a little bit like old school Priest Holmes, who was phenomenal at that.
Yeah, that's right.
So the 16 catches were tied with Arizona's Tetaroa McMillan, the number 8 overall pick for second most in FBS. So that's kind of amazing because he's a running back. So that's pretty impressive. So that's our 2 guys that are going to be impact rookies to look at for Jacksonville. They're both going to get starting opportunities. They both should be, I mean, just as we speak right now, again, talking 18 teams, 14 rounds. These will probably be potential flex plays you're picking towards the end of your draft, both of these guys. So something to keep in mind for Jacksonville. So moving on to Tennessee, Chiz, tell us about Tennessee.
So, I mean, when you got Tennessee, the first thing you got is the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
Right. So a lot of people are wondering, what is this Cam Ward fellow all about? Should I be considering him? Should I be considering him as an early pick? Is he somebody I should take later? If you're thinking about it from a Gio's perspective, rookie quarterbacks are always a little scary. But the thing about him is he is definitely a playmaker. He has an incredibly live arm. If you're getting a chance to look at the highlights here, you'll see he's got a ton of arm talent. He throws from a lot of different slots. That's very Patrick Mahomes-esque and how he does that. The knock on him, and it's something I am concerned about, is he turns the ball over a lot. And the reason why is he tends to try for the big play. So he's a guy who wants to make a huge play at all times. And sometimes for a rookie, that's going to lead to mistakes. And I think he's going to have to learn in the NFL to just take what is given him.
Yeah, sometimes the 6 to 10 yard plays, that is the play.
That's right.
Sometimes the sack is the play. Sometimes the throwing the ball away is the play.
Right? And that is difficult for rookie quarterbacks. So if I'm thinking about it from a Gio standpoint, he's a guy I would probably take late and stash if you can, and see how he grows and matures. The problem with Guillotine, as you'll learn, is you don't have a lot of bench space. So there's usually a lot of opportunities to pick up quarterbacks later in the game. But the key is going to be, I actually probably like him as a guy to use some free agent dollars on down the line, but don't overbid. Don't overbid for him. He's not going to a good team. He's not going to have a lot of talent around him. He could be really solid.
There's a reason they picked first.
That's right.
And I misspoke earlier. I said Giants. I meant Tennessee. So my bad on that.
Yeah.
But this is what I was talking about. So they could have taken Travis Hunter, and they took Cam Ward. And Pruitt brought this up a couple episodes back. It's probably a pressure pick. When you need a quarterback and you've been living with Tannehill and Scabs, and you got a dude who's best known for doing the splits right now. Will Levis in the splits. That's you don't really want that to be what you're known for. So they had to get somebody. And
eating mayo.
And this is just the thinnest quarterback class in recent memory, especially after last year's. Just tons. Like, I think we had 6 in the first 12 picks last year.
Yeah.
Might not be exactly accurate, pretty close. But Cam Ward is probably the most tools and talent for this year's batch.
I think he's the best available. I think he was the best available quarterback in the draft for sure. But I also don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's going to come in and look great right off the bat. I think he's got some stuff to learn. The good thing is he's got the tools that he can overcome a lot of the learning. Yeah. He's going to be able to make some throws he probably shouldn't and get away with them.
Just
but
not
he'll learn a lot.
There's not a lot of weapons or linemen in that offense right now. That's not going to help.
No,
the issues they need.
It's a real tough spot to go.
They need a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's
a real tough spot to go if you're a rookie.
Talked about that in a past episode too. Is some of these guys have to step in and get thrown to the wolves their first couple of years.
That's right, and he's going to be one of them.
He's in a tough situation. But
they tried to get him I will give him credit. They tried to get him some help because they drafted a couple wide receivers that we'll touch on briefly and a tight end. The first wide receiver they drafted is Chimere Dike. And Chimere Dike is a Gator. And he is like a lot of past Gator wide receivers. He's got a lot going for him. I'm going to pull up the video for Chimere, trying to multitask, and as a adult male, I have a hard time with that. Chimere is a great route runner. So if you watched him all in college, I did. He's a really good double move guy. He's a guy that tends to get open late in the routes. He makes some really cool adjustments. He uses his head and shoulders really well. So I like the way he gets open. He's not a huge yak guy, which is surprising because he had 18.6 yards per catch, but he doesn't get a lot after the catch. He just tends to get wide open, and that gets him a lot of room to run. He's not a burner, but he is a definite great possession, great hands guy. So I think he's probably going to be more of a possession type guy in the NFL. So if you're looking for like a game breaker, I don't think he's going to be it, but Cam Ward's going to need some dudes that get open to mid-range, and I think he could be one that, he's coming in with them. They're rookies together. They could form a bond, so keep your eye on him, particularly in the preseason, to see how he does.
He kind of sort of reminds me of Ladd McConkey, but not quite. McConkey could run through people a little bit more, I think.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It reminds me of that type of player, though.
Similar in that way. I would agree. The interesting thing is they got another guy, and I'm going to bring him up next. They got him late round, Alec Ayormanor, and he's from Stanford. And he's a real smart guy. Not a surprise. He went to Stanford. But he's not like an overly athletic guy. So they kind of got two guys that are more possession type receivers together. I think, which, hey, that's not bad. They're going to need some guys to catch. He gets really good separation, though. Same type of guy. Now, he is better after the catch. He had a higher rack for sure. He didn't have as good a quarterback throwing to him. That was part of it. So a lot of it was short, and he was having to make his own plays. But I do like him. Right. He's not an elite athlete, though. I think he is. The reason he went in the 4th round.
He's big. 6'2", 210. Big. He gets up there and
That's
gets
exactly
it.
Right. He's a big dude who can get open. And so if he can, work on his fundamentals, he could find a spot. These are both 2 guys that I'm circling to watch a lot in the preseason to see how they mesh with Cam Ward, because that could mean a lot. It doesn't even mean they're the best on the team, but if they mesh with the rookie quarterback, and he likes them, they're probably going to get some reps. So that would be what I would do on both these guys. And then they weren't done. They decided, nope, we're not going to just stop with wide receivers. They went out and they got a tight end as well. Out of Texas, Gunnar Helm. And
it's a great name for a tight end. Just a big old beefcake from Texas.
He it's a perfect. It sounds like he would be a beefcake tight end from Texas, doesn't it? Gunnar Helm, which is appropriate.
6'5", 250.
That's the thing about Gunnar. He's a massive target. So he looks like an NFL tight end.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, he has the build of an NFL tight end, and he has incredible ball skills. So if you watch him, he's really good. You can tell this is a dude that played basketball. Right now you can see he adjusts to he just adjusted to the tip ball on the highlight.
Easy.
So he's used to going and getting the ball, which is what you want out of your tight end. He's almost like a guy posting up on the block, right? That's kind of what you want in a big tight end. He's not super fast, though. He's not super quick. He's probably, I'm not expecting any breakout in, huge stats from this guy. He's probably not a draftable Gio guy. He's probably going to be more of a role player. But who knows? Again, if he gets on Cam Ward's good side, Cam Ward feels safety there and security on a short route, and he's like, Gunner's always open. Keep him on your radar, but I would definitely not target him early. But he's definitely got some skills to be a serviceable player from a Gio standpoint.
Yeah, and, he's probably going to be. I wouldn't think he's going to be a key focal point of this offense, though, as opposed to one we talked about last week, Mason Taylor. I think that will be more of a focus point on the offense, and then we'll get down to another one, Tyler Warren, here for the Colts here in a second. But this is what we're talking about. I mean, he's going to be a helpful player for the team. Like, he's a real life, probably better player than fantasy.
Yep, I agree. That's right. So that is Tennessee. So they went offense heavy for sure. They got 4 picks, quarterback, 2 wide receivers, tight end. They're trying. We got to give them credit for trying, but we'll see. Preseason's going to mean a lot for them. So let's go on to Houston. Prue, you want to take us through the Oilers-Texans?
Oilers/Texans. Yeah, I'd be glad to. They had a really interesting draft. If you watched the Texans last year, you noticed that C.J. Stroud had not much time in the pocket. I think he was hit the most of any quarterback in the league.
Yes, he was.
And he had a very elite group of wide receivers that couldn't stay on the field the whole season.
Man, they were just injury plagued.
So,
it was.
Yeah, so I think that's part of why they drafted the way they did. I'm still a little confused why they didn't take more offensive linemen. I think they
which is their biggest weakness.
Yes,
they don't care about the offensive line, Prue. They just want to
throw faster.
They did take one, so they in their second pick, they had 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. So I'll get to their first pick in a second here, but their second pick, they did take an offensive lineman, Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. So that may help some. But I think they need more than one lineman to shore up their problems.
Depends on how big he is.
Yeah. How strong are you? Can you block 2?
Right. You may have to.
So we'll see. That could still be a problem, but they've definitely gone and gotten some firepower for C.J. Stroud. Their first overall pick was in the first part of round 2. So round 2, pick 34 overall. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. And he's a big dude. 6'4", 215.
Yeah, that's a big dude.
Had 87 catches and 9 touchdowns, over 1,000, almost 1,200 yards receiving.
Dang.
For the vaunted Iowa State offense.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot for an Iowa State offense. Historically, Iowa State's not a, put up 50 kind of team.
So if you watch a lot, so the one dig I have on the guy is if you watch these fade routes, a lot of body catches. Like he's strong and he's big, but he's like just muscling people out of the way and receiving with his body. He's got to learn.
Yeah, he's bullying. Point. He does have the high point. You're right. That's going to be something he's got to learn.
Harder to do in the NFL. You can get away with it in college, and a lot of these guys do.
Right.
So even when you're talking about Cam Ward making throws, you can do it, but not going to be doing it next level.
Right.
So he is. I mean, he catches the ball, but he's got to learn to use his height a little better.
Yeah.
But he definitely has a body to play in the NFL. It could be a huge weapon down the road if he learns how to use it.
And to your point, Prue, both these guys we're going to talk about from the wide receiver standpoint, they got a lot of talent around them. So they're oftentimes going to be covered by the third D-back, right?
So, so I saw let me talk about the other guy first, and then I want to go back to Higgins. Third round, they got Jaden Higgins' teammate, Jalen Noel, from Iowa State.
This has to be kind of a first time ever thing where a team takes both the starters from college and puts both the starters on their starters for the NFL next season.
It could be.
Right?
I just can't believe it's that
common. I can't ever remember this happening.
No.
So this guy is arguably their best wide receiver. If you watch some of these highlights, this is the guy that's the home run hitter, breakaway speed. Because I'll get it going here in a second. I'm confident.
I was sharing like 15 screens somehow. As long as you guys see one, that's all that matters.
There's Jalen Noel running around the corner.
You're going to see a couple of just blow past the guy.
So you've got a Jaden and a Jalen.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the Texans picked 3 players named Jalen.
What?
I mean, that's part of their draft strategy. Is like, what's his first name? No,
sort my first name.
We only do Jalen's in Houston.
So there's 2 defensive guys named Jalen that I'm not going to talk about tonight, but 3 Jalen's in this draft for the Texans.
3 Jalen's and a Jaden. Nice.
So anyway, this guy, Jalen Noel's arguably their better receiver. He's got better hands, better speed. He's just a little small. He's a little undersized.
Yeah.
There's been some Christian Kirk comparisons to him.
Yeah, 5'11". That's a short.
Pretty short for a wide receiver.
He looks like an inflated 200 pounds too. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
he looks like a 180 guy to me, maybe 190.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
I think that's kind of what hurt his draft stock. You'll see too. Coming up here, he's a punt returner, so he's lightning quick, good hands, good speed. Arguably a better overall receiver. I think his draft stock damaged a little bit just because of his size. But anyway, could be a really good pickup for them.
And they got depth there.
The other thing that is really in their favor and why, so like I mentioned, Jaden Higgins, their second round pick, he's a huge dude and he's used to playing on the outside, but they've got a guy named Nico Collins in Texas.
Who?
He's decent.
Oh, that one guy that's phenomenal? That works.
And Nico's not going to move off of the outside, X receiver type.
No, he's not.
Spot, right?
No.
So what they're talking about is putting this Jaden Higgins guy, 6'4", right?
Yeah.
As a power slot receiver. And they said with his style and the way he uses his body already and so forth, that is a perfect spot for him. And he will see more zone coverage, things like that in the middle of the field than he will, as an X receiver on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That mostly sees man-to-man, right?
That could be smart. There's not too many people that play that offense. That might be something they can spin to their advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw
matchups.
Yeah.
I saw some commentary that this is like the perfect spot for this guy to go, and then to also have your teammate come with you and have CJ Stroud throwing to you. I mean, they're set up well. Their whole thing, my biggest concern I mentioned before is in the offensive line. Give them any time to throw the ball this year.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Key. All right. Who else did they get, Prue? They got
one
other guy,
one more guy. I'll speed this along. 4th round, 116th pick overall. Woody Marks out of USC. 5'10", 208. Very similar to Newton that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of a small, stocky back. 5.7 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns, 1,100 yards. He's a really good combination of speed and power.
I watched him play a couple different games because obviously USC went to the Big Ten. So in the Midwest, we see a lot of Big Ten games. And so I could see USC a couple different times this season. And I like watching him play. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the backfield and everything else. I thought he caught the ball well. He runs well. He hits the hole well. I think he's going to be a pretty solid player for him.
You mentioned Priest Holmes earlier, and this guy kind of reminds me of that.
There he is.
If you watch some of these outside runs,
he's just running through people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going down first contact.
I want to show you his patience. He's a really patient runner. This is the same play from a different angle. But he does a lot of Priest Holmes, like pausing until your block develops, and then you hit the hole hard.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that about him. The only thing I don't like about him, and I don't like him because he's USC and I'm a Notre Dame guy, so I automatically hate him. But I did notice he's not a good blocker. That's the concern in the NFL is like he's either going to have to get better at taking on a linebacker or he's going to be a third down guy.
Yeah. So he's a Roger Dorn of running backs. Like, what do I want to get hit? No way.
Right.
Block that guy. He's huge. You see that guy? He's trying to hit me. I don't even have the
He's
ball.
like, I run.
I'm not going to sacrifice my body without the ball. That's stupid.
Well, and so it sounds like he's willing to stick his head in there, but he doesn't have the technique figured out yet.
That's right. That's exactly right.
NFL linebackers will just, windmill right past him because he doesn't have the technique that's required for pass blocking. He's just kind of brute forcing it right now. So
that'd be what I watched in the preseason reps because he's probably going to get a lot of preseason reps because he's a late round guy.
Right.
Is how he does on those pass blocks. Because if he can get better in coverage, he'll earn some more playing time. Because he can run. For sure he can run. That's not the question.
He's great carrying the ball. He's a good pass catcher, but you got to learn how to do it all if you're going to be an every down back.
The good news for Houston is they don't need him to be the number one guy right now anyway.
That's right.
I mean, barring an injury to Joe Mixon, he's just going to be backing him up. So the thing is, he doesn't need to be an every down back at this moment. So hopefully they can get him some NFL coaching and get him up to speed on that. That'd be good.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. Final team. So I'll go
Dex, you got the last one, right?
Last one. So the Indianapolis Colts. So rest in peace, Jim Irsay. He passed away this past week. But before he went, he got to see who they drafted this year for his fantasy team futures. And first pick in the 14th overall, he took tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State, who I thought was just incredible. Having watched him play multiple games, again, another Big Ten team, he single-handedly was beating the Gophers at the game I went to last year. And at many of the games this season, you look at the highlights that SVP's putting up there post-game, you're seeing a lot of Tyler Warren. I mean, 6'6", 257.
He's a monster.
Routes, rushes people, runs screenplays, throws passes, runs the ball. What a beast, man. So he's 104 catches. That was second in college football as a tight end, man. So second in receptions as a tight end for Penn State. It's not like they're renowned throwing the ball. So he's just that big of a deal. And then he also parlayed that into 1,233 yards. That was seventh in the country. 8 touchdowns, 11.9 yards per catch. Awesome. So you're hearing all that, like, wow, how was he not the first one? Well, the first pick ended up being Colston Loveland out of Michigan, and Chicago took him. And the second tight end off the board, but I don't know. The Colts have a history of getting, Dallas Clark and quite a few other very good tight ends over the course of their history. And this was their top tight end on the board, allegedly. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't in the room. That's what the reports say, though. They got their guy anyway. So they were thinking about trading up, but then once Loveland got taken by Chicago, they just got to sit back and wait and kind of hope no one else would sneak up. So they got their guy. He needs to work on blocking, so it sounds a little bit like our last guy we were just talking about for Woody Marks. But if he can get a little bit better on that, he's got all the tools and talent. He runs great routes, great hands. I think he's going to be
huge frame,
a touchdown machine in the red zone. He's just so big.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a tight end one right away. He's going to be draftable in fantasy, specifically Gio, right away. You can for sure throw him in if you're a flex spot, but I think he'll be at least worthy of that because he's going to be moving the chains. I think he's going to be a high receptions, even if not necessarily 80 to 100 yards. I don't know if he's going to be that type of guy in the NFL, but I can certainly see 4 for 40 and a touchdown nearly every week.
Yeah, I could see the red zone for sure because he is such a big target, Dex, to your point. Like, even if he's not overwhelming physically anymore when he gets to the NFL, he's a huge target. and he's obviously used to catching the ball a lot. So
Yeah.
And if I don't know, it's probably unlikely that he would run the Wildcat.
But
for the
look at
Colts,
this. So,
but-
I mean,
Right.
the thing is, he was a high school quarterback, and
Yeah.
he just knows how to play the game of football. He's played everywhere. He's done everything. You can hand the ball off. You can do all these different things with them. So he's kind of fun in that perspective. They're going to have packages for him, without a doubt. He's going to have packages for him. So it'll probably be kind of the Swiss Army knife, like our New Orleans kid that, man, what's his name? The quarterback / tight end Saints guy who does all the same stuff too, runs and passes.
Bobby
and throws.
Boucher.
No, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
It's totally drawing a blank.
I do.
But I might dub it in here in a minute. And so he was backing up Drew Brees. You know who I'm talking about.
I
We used
totally
him every
know who
single
you're-
week.
Who are you talking about? I don't know. Who
The
you're
New
talking about.
Orleans Saints.
What are you talking about?
He's hurt all the time.
Yeah, he's hurt all the time.
Oh,
He keeps running
yeah.
into people. Regardless, I
Right.
think they'll use him like that, and probably a little more because he's actually a really good
We're
receiver.
showing our age.
Yeah, I know.
I have
more.
a picture of him in my head. I just can't remember his name. Hill?
Jesus.
No.
I'm going to
Taysom
just.
Hill.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom
Yes.
Hill.
I got the last name. You got the first name, Prue.
Good job. That's how we do it. Combo platter. So look,
That's right.
I think he's gonna have a Taysom Hill role for the Colts, and I think he'll be able to do everything. Their next and last impact kind of player potentially for Gio is running back DJ Giddens from Kansas State. They got him in the 5th round, 151st overall. He's a big back, so 6'1", 212, 1,300 yards, 6.6 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. So his yards per carry, and look at these clips. He is running through tackles. He's
a big dude.
kind of a big, strong, fast kid.
That's a
He's tough, man.
good
So-
move.
His 6.6 was 5th among power conference running backs. And looking at these clips, you're like, yeah, I see that. That looks pretty realistic. And he also can catch the ball. So 50 catches over the last 2 seasons at K-State. I think he's going to be a pretty good pick for a 5th round pick. Indianapolis might have gotten a real good one. I mean, again, Taylor's there. So Jonathan Taylor's not going anywhere. Unless he is. I don't think so. But
But they also need to worry. I mean, I would think you got to worry about his usage. Jonathan Taylor's, you don't want to continue to put so many miles on him.
Well, but why not? They already paid him now. That's why you
that's
draft
true.
someone to help out. So I don't know how much run he's going to get. So as far as impact, he's really going to be Taylor's got to get hurt. But watch him in the preseason, see if he earns that second spot, the backup running back spot. And if so, watch out, man, because he's a tweaked ankle from being pretty relevant in fantasy circles.
That's right.
So that's all we got from the
Look at that
Colts.
move.
And
Good
kind of
move.
all we got from the AFC South. Is there anybody else you guys want to touch on while we're in this division?
No, I mean, I would just say that, it's interesting because this division, when is the last Super Bowl from this division?
It's been a hot minute. I mean, they're just not real good. This is a
Like, I was-
division
I was
that they are talking about. When you talk about the playoffs, like, well, we need to make sure that the good teams get in. It's because like an 8 and 9 team from the AFC South keeps getting in.
That's
and
right.
that's the best team is 8 and 9. And Houston,
I mean, it had to have been. It had to
years
have
in
been.
a row.
It had to have been Indianapolis, right? Is the
for
last
Super Bowl
team to
winner
win.
for sure. Yeah.
And actually, that's probably the last time anybody went to the Super Bowl. So there's a.
I mean, Tennessee was in the AFC Championship game a handful of years ago. I mean, it's against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
when
Maybe
they
it was
had, back when they had
divisional
Derrick
game.
Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's up for grabs, and they are getting a lot of interesting young talent, and it's not like they're all all these players are going into a division that doesn't have dominant teams in it.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing is you're not going up against a bunch of dominant defenses from a fantasy standpoint. So you might be able to find a few nuggets here from a Gio standpoint.
And like we'll talk about too. We've mentioned it last week, but I'll mention it again for those of you that haven't listened to our last show. The talent gets spread pretty thin across 18 teams.
Really quick.
In a Guillotine league. So that 13th and 14th pick, you're looking deep on the depth charts a lot of times. And guys like this that are backing up Jonathan Taylor, who's been injured before.
Yes.
Last year.
Last year and probably the year before too, if I had to guess.
Yeah. For sure.
Those guys can step in and get some carries right away.
At some point in your Guillotine season, I can promise you, if you make it far enough, you will be starting a Bichelle Tootin or somebody or
Jalen
DJ
Noel or
Giddens. Or
Yeah.
you'll be like, oh god, I just need Jalen Noel to get 2 catches and
I know.
a tutty today, and I'll be good.
Come on, Woody Marks, learn to block, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need you in there on
Totally.
third down to catch one flat pass for 4 yards.
That's
All
right.
right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode on Guillotine Fantasy Football. So the AFC South, we got it in the books for you. Again, feel free to leave comments in there if you want something different for our upcoming divisions, a different way to look at it, different clips. Let us know. We'll see what we can do for you. But in the meantime, thank you so much again for the support. And until next week, stay shrewd.
Stay shrewd.
Shrewd.